Let's make one thing clear. Today, we are covering Emma only for Anya Taylor Joy's beauty. Let's at least make this entertaining. Before we start, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, and of course subscribe to the channel if you dig the summary. The movie begins in the home of wealthy and beautiful Emma Woodhouse. "Emma, I got some wood in my house." She wakes up from the sound of her iPhone alarm clock. Not long after, she makes her way to a greenhouse with two of her employees assisting her, one to pick out the flowers she wants and the other to light her way. Must have been nice to be rich back then. Your job is to pick flowers and walk around with a bitch boy holding your lantern. Later, she walks up to a room holding a bouquet of freshly picked pansies. She knocks on the bedroom door of her governess, Miss Taylor, who is to be wed and become Mrs. Weston. She wishes her the best and they hug. Secret lesbian love affair? Sorry, not that kind of movie. On the day of the wedding, Mr. Woodhouse, Emma's father, complains of his other daughter, Isabella, for marrying and leaving them, but also talks about how unlucky Miss Taylor is to have found her match. I wonder if the guy is ugly or probably poor? They ride their pumpkin that takes them to the chapel to witness Miss Taylor and Mr. Weston ruin their lives. Apparently, Emma makes it her job to be a matchmaker. Their local vicar, Mr. Elton, officiates the wedding. Fool looks incredibly uncomfortable in that getup. The father and daughter arrive in the chapel and are greeted by many, including Miss Bates, who basically wants to kiss Emma's feet. Could you blame her? We see Mr. Weston and realize he's old AF. As they wait, Emma keeps looking back at the entrance expecting to see Mr. Frank Churchill, the son of Mr. Weston, who is the heir of his uncle's fortune. But after the wedding ceremony and the reception, Frank doesn't arrive, devastating Emma. Later, Mr. Knightley apparently needs men to help him get dressed. That night, Mr. Knightley, who is a usual visitor of the Woodhouse family and a local landowner who is the brother of his sister's husband, comes over to their mansion to catch up. Look at Emma running her ass to the piano only to play a really easy song. Mr. Woodhouse usually feels the slightest draft wherever he sits and asks for a screen to cover them from the cold draft. Mr. Knightley makes fun of Emma for being too hopeful of meeting Frank Churchill. Autumn comes and Emma wants to help Harriet Smith, a younger girl whose parents are unknown, but her education has been provided for. The two have tea and crumpets. They then visit Mrs. Weston and Mr. Elton John looking like he wants to eat Harriet for a snack. After they leave, Harriet tells Emma that she should get married, but Emma says she has no desire to. She doesn't want fortune and definitely doesn't want to work. Well, of course she doesn't when she already has it. The two girls go to the town and shop for a little bit. Emma spots Miss Bates outside the window of the shop and gets startled. This bitch is crazy. Miss Bates comes running inside to tell the rich girl about Jane Fairfax, Miss Bates' niece. During their convo, Emma is obviously annoyed of how ADHD this woman is. Miss Bates tells them how Jane almost lost her life at sea. Later, while Emma vents about her dislike of Jane Fairfax, Harriet becomes quite excited to see Mr. Martin by the fields. The young girl believes that Mr. Martin is infatuated with her. Emma believes that Harriet deserves better, since Mr. Martin is fugly and Harriet deserves better. One day, Emma sees how thirsty Mr. Elton is while he flirts with Harriet. Emma decides to paint a portrait of Harriet and shows it to everyone. Mr. Knightley insults Emma's skill. Mr. Elton wants it. Emma is convinced that Mr. Elton has a liking for Harriet. Later that day, Mr. Knightley tells his new sister-in-law, Mrs. Weston, about how Emma is brainwashing Harriet into thinking that Harriet should have better standards than Mr. Martin. Mrs. Weston asks him not to meddle in their affairs since Mr. Knightley wants to be a bachelor all his life. Mr. Knightley visits Mr. Martin. As they walk along, Mr. Martin asks Mr. Knightley for his advice on an important matter. Mr. Knightley offers his help. One day, Harriet tells Emma that Mr. Martin has written a letter to Harriet, asking for her hand in marriage. Well, that's fast. Harriet begins doubting the offer, and Emma tells her as a general rule that if a woman doubts whether she should accept a man or not, she certainly ought to refuse him. Harriet asks if she should say no. Emma manipulates Harriet into declining Mr. Martin's offer of marriage. Mr. Knightley is pissed at Emma for meddling in affairs that doesn't concern her. He knows that Sir Elton John is a playa and Harriet should go with Martin instead. Mr. Elton comes over and gets Harriet's kitty wet by showing the framed painting. Winter arrives. Emma's older sister and Mr. Knightley's younger brother come to visit them for the holidays. As Emma cradles her baby niece, Mr. Knightley goes over to Emma and asks to be friends again. They seem to have reconciled, but Emma still believes that she is right. The baby farts and chaos ensues. Mr. Knightley's brother looks miserable. The Westons invite the Woodhouse family for dinner, including Mr. Knightley and Mr. Elton. Emma is excited to go because she can finally meet Frank Churchill, who doesn't show up due to a personal business he needed to attend to. While having dinner, they talk about Frank needing to marry a woman of good fortune, or else he will be cut out of the will. Mr. Elton says it will snow that night. Everyone stops and looks at Mr. Woodhouse, who is deathly afraid of the snow as his wife died on a snow day. The whole Woodhouse family rushes to leave earlier than expected. Emma leaves last and apologizes to Mr. Weston about leaving. 3 carriages await the family and they all get in and leave. Meanwhile, Emma finds herself alone in a carriage with Mr. Elton, so she has no choice but to ride with him. Elton looks at her in a very creepy way. As the carriage moves, Mr. Elton, a little drunk, declares his love for her by saying that he has been treating Harriet kindly only because her and Emma are friends. He has never thought of Harriet in that way. Emma promptly refuses him. Mr. Elton insinuates that Harriet is too ugly for him, and also Emma has been giving flirty signals apparently. Emma denies ever doing so. Mr. Elton throws a tantrum for the carriage to stop and he leaves. The next day, as Harriet plays with a bunch of girls, they're cutting sand until it looks phallic. For some reason, Harriet gets to shove it down her throat. Emma is shocked at how deep Harriet can take it as her face is smashed into the phallic sand. Harriet is then shocked to see Emma. Emma tells Harriet of the news about Mr. Elton's confession, breaking Harriet's heart. Full of anger, she wishes to burn the framed portrait of her painting since it reminds her of Elton John. Emma tells her to throw away the frame and Emma will keep the painting. Eventually, Isabella and her family say their goodbyes and leaves. Mr. Woodhouse is devastated and tells Emma to never leave him. Emma reassures him that she wouldn't dream of ever doing so. Spring arrives. Harriet wants to recite Elton's sermon, but Emma says don't talk about him anymore, so Harriet throws away the sermon. Miss Bates, along with Jane Fairfax, joins the family for dinner. After their supper, Emma performs first and acts like she's the shit, only for Jane to outperform Emma in playing the piano, causing Emma to dislike Jane even further. The next day, at the store, Harriet runs into the Martins and it's quite awkward since Harriet refused Mr. Martin's hand in marriage. Honestly, he looks better than that Elton John guy. As Harriet leaves, Mr. Martin chases after her and instead of kissing romantically in the rain, Mr. Martin just gives her advice about a flood nearby. Emma finally meets Frank and is immediately wet. Emma asks how well he knows Jane and the man tiptoes around the question. At a party, Emma grows jealous of Jane as she finds out that Frank sent her an expensive piano as a gift. Even sent a carriage to pick up Jane. Emma is clearly jealous as she laughs at Jane's hair. At church, it's awkward as Elton is back from a 6-week disappearance. He shows off his new wife to Emma and Harriet. Frank's arrival prompts the Westons to hold a ball. Emma and Harriet are stuck with Mrs. Bates, while Elton grows annoyed of his new wife. Frank promises Emma that he will be giving her his first dance. In the ball, Mr. Elton embarrasses Harriet by pointedly refusing to dance with her as he is already married. Harriet, embarrassed enough, is rescued by Mr. Knightley who motions to her and asks her to dance. Afterwards, Emma thanks Mr. Knightley for being so kind to her friend. She apologizes for being wrong about Elton. Moments later, Mr. Weston asks Emma to dance again so it's not like middle school dances where everyone is just sitting in their corners. She and Mr. Knightley proceed to dance together afterwards and their beautiful moment dancing and holding each other awakens romantic feelings for each other. Though Emma leaves before Mr. Knightley can speak to her, he runs to her home only to be interrupted by Frank, who has rescued Harriet from a dancing camp. While on the couch, Harriet looks like she wants to slurp Mr. Knightley. Harriet whispers to Emma that she has fallen in love again, leading Emma to believe Harriet is in love with Frank. Emma again vows not to interfere but manipulate circumstances so that Harriet and Frank may spend more time together. Emma tries to spend more time with Mr. Knightley, but she is surprised when he repeatedly ignores her. Summer arrives. On a picnic with their entire party of social acquaintances, Frank urges them to play a game to amuse Emma. Miss Bates jokingly tells them that they'll bore them if she speaks. Emma unknowingly insults Miss Bates, saying that Miss Bates never stops talking. She realizes her mistake and everyone in the group stops laughing. Awkward! Miss Bates feels embarrassed and thinks that she might have done something to make Emma hate her. Jane volunteers to have a walk with Miss Bates and they leave without hesitation. The rest of the group also disband in discomfort. Mr. Knightley goes up to Emma and begins to lecture her for her rude behavior and how she treated Miss Bates, embarrassing her in front of everyone. Emma cries as she is humiliated. Emma reflects on her bad traits of being arrogant. Soon after, Emma visits Miss Bates, bringing with her a basket of freshly picked flowers. Emma apologizes to Miss Bates about the incident the day before. Miss Bates accepts her apology without question. She's very much a pick-me type of girl. Soon afterwards, the Westons call for Emma and they tell her about Mrs. Churchill's death, so Frank is no longer required to be at her beck and call. The couple also reveal to Emma that Frank is engaged to Jane, that the two of them have been engaged since autumn of last year. They tell Emma that Frank admits that he is only waiting for his aunt, who opposed the two from marrying and will cut him off from the will, to die. The Westons had hoped that Frank would marry Emma, but Emma is distressed by the idea on account of Harriet and how it would break her friend's heart. Later, Emma breaks the news to Harriet, who reveals that she is actually in love with Mr. Knightley, and that Mr. Knightley was alluding to engagement with Harriet. Emma tells her that Mr. Knightley may have been referring to Martin wanting to get engaged with Harriet. Harriet realizes that Emma herself is in love with Mr. Knightley. Another love triangle. Scandalo! She admits to Emma that she only refused Martin's proposal because of Emma, and then she walks out crying. Mr. Knightley goes to Emma to comfort her about the news and reveal that he is in love with her and hopes to marry her. Initially pleased with his marriage offer, Emma develops a nosebleed when she realizes how upset Harriet will be. She runs off, leaving behind a very confused and disappointed Mr. Knightley. She goes to Mr. Martin to make amends, offering him a portrait of Harriet that she kept. Not long after, Harriet tells Emma that she accepted Mr. Martin's offer of marriage, and that her father has revealed himself now that she is of age. He is not a gentleman, but a tradesman who makes galoshes. Emma congratulates Harriet and invites her and her father to her home. This invitation makes Harriet smile. She and Emma hug, becoming friends again. Though Emma and Mr. Knightley are very much in love, Emma is distressed at the thought of leaving her father alone. To accommodate her wishes, Mr. Knightley suggests that he join them there rather than have Emma quit her father's home. Emma happily agrees. The movie ends on the wedding day of Emma and Mr. Knightley. Mr. Woodhouse gives his daughter away. Emma walks down the aisle with her father as she smiles at the people who are there to attend her wedding. Mr. Elton officiates the wedding. Most of the guests smile and cry a little at the sight of the two in love and ready to be wed. Aren't these two brother and sister-in-law? Not totally Sweet Home Alabama, but a tad weird.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like. It really helps the channel.